If there's one thing that never fails in a good pantry, it's cookies. As a staple in baking, they're essential. And today, I'm going to show you how to turn them into 3 luxurious desserts. And without even turning on the oven. Pay attention, because they are pure addiction. Starting with this quick cake with milk and cookies, which is amazing and very easy to make. First, here I have 4 cups of milk, which is 800 milliliters. And what I'm going to do is pour a little into this container. Then I add 2 heaping tablespoons of cornstarch, also called cornstarch or corn flour. And what I'm going to do is mix it really well. We're going to stir and stir until the cornstarch is completely dissolved. We put the rest of the milk in a large saucepan or pot. And this is where we're going to add a couple of flavor touches. The first one is with a stick of cinnamon, which is fantastic. And also a splash or a spoonful of vanilla essence, extract or flavoring. And now that I have the milk and the things that give it flavor in this saucepan, what do? Heat it up! So we go to the stove, set it to medium heat, and let it warm up for a few minutes. We don't need it to boil, just warm it. Just make sure it's warm, so in a few minutes, it'll be ready. So when you see that it's nice and warm, take out the cinnamon stick. What you'll do now is add 100 grams or half a cup of sugar. And we're also gonna give it some texture and a bit of flavor to make it creamier with 3 egg yolks. And I use large eggs, size L, which weigh about 63 to 65 grams.
3 a 65 gramos.
We add these yolks in, and we're gonna give it a few stirs until everything has a uniform color. You'll see that it comes together in just about a minute. What we'll do next is as simple as adding the milk with cornstarch that we had set aside from the beginning. Since most of the milk is already warm, the process will be very quick, and right away, you'll notice how this starts to thicken. The most common thing is that you'll see that the bottom part starts to thicken a little. It's important not to stop stirring. This way, little by little, the temperature will always be uniform throughout the liquid, and you won't have any problems or lumps. It's that easy. As you can see, after a little while, this liquid is already thick. This is up to each person. If you want them very liquid, if you want a dessert that stays quite liquid, you should take it out now. If you want it to be thicker, cook it a little longer. The thing is, you have to keep in mind that after a while, after a few minutes, it will get a bit thicker. And then, when we cool it down, even more. So, you have to keep that in mind. What's important is that when you think it's a bit more liquid than you like, you should take it off the heat, because that's the moment to serve it. We keep adding until we fill the container. Fantastic! And once we have it nice and full like this, we add a cookie. I'm using María cookies, but you can use whichever you like. We're here for that. To enjoy. Look how amazing it looks. And the same process for the modern container. We fill it with cream. There it is. In it goes. Very good. Perfect. And what we do is decorate with cookies as well. A different touch. And I don't know which one I like more. No matter which container you use, what you'll need to do is let it cool down a bit. That is, we're gonna leave it here for a few minutes so the temperature drops a little, but just a bit, like 4 or 5 minutes. After that time, even though they'll still be a little warm, we take some plastic wrap and cover them really well. And now that we have it ready, covered up of course, it's time to refrigerate them, so we're gonna take both the modern and the traditional one and put them in the fridge. At least 2 hours, so they get the perfect texture and we can decorate and enjoy them to the fullest. Don't worry, you don't have to be calculating meal times to figure out when to make them. When I say at least 2 hours, I mean 2 hours minimum, but you could make them a day ahead without any problem and they'll still turn out amazing. The only thing you have to do afterwards is remove the plastic wrap and decorate however you like. I like to add a little bit of cinnamon, but not too much. Like this, ground cinnamon. I do it using a strainer, in my case, the typical tea infuser, so it's small and easy to handle.
In the end, you have this look.
How creamy it is. Look at that texture. I'm sure you're already getting into it.
The drool.
Spoon, though.
I recommend you hold on. You might actually prefer to make this spectacular Carlotta. You won't believe how easy it is to make.
Look. Look at this amazing cake or no-bake tart that's super easy to make. No oven, no eggs, and with a very creamy texture. Hey dessert lovers, today we're going to make a creamy no-bake coffee desserter cake. Nothing can go wrong. The first thing I'm going to grab is a small pitcher. And here I'm going to pour 250 milliliters or 1¼ cups of very hot water. Why? We're going to dissolve 3 heaping teaspoons of coffee, but nice and full. In my case, it's decaf, in case the kids want to try it, but you can use any coffee you like. As you can see, thanks to the heat of the water, this dissolves in just a moment. On the other hand, we take a 1/4 cup or 50 milliliters of water and dissolve a tablespoon of gelatin in it. As you can see, here it is. I have my blender jar, but today you can easily use a hand blender, a whisk, or just a fork and beat it really well. It's up to you. I'm just gonna use it to mix a bunch of ingredients. So let's get to it. I take off the lid, and what I do here is add a glass of milk, which is about 200 milliliters. The same amount of cream, whipping cream, heavy cream, double cream, whatever you call it. The same amount of cream cheese or spreadable cheese as well. In it goes. A splash of vanilla essence, extract, or flavoring. And we put all of this in the machine because we're gonna mix it at full speed.
Hey.
We blend it for a few seconds, and it will be well mixed right away. To this, we're gonna add the condensed milk. 1 can, which is about 2 cups, or almost 400 milliliters. We add the whole thing, put the lid back on, and blend it again for a few seconds so it mixes well and becomes a uniform liquid. And once the condensed milk is mixed in, we're going to add some of that coffee we prepared at the beginning. If you want to use another type of coffee that's not instant, you can do that too. And only use half of what we prepared, because we're gonna save the rest. If you like a strong coffee flavor, you can add a little more. And what you definitely need to do, as you can see, is mix it once again. Now I'm gonna take this gelatin that we hydrated earlier, which is already thick, and I'm going to heat it up so it liquefies. You can do that in the microwave or in a saucepan, whichever you prefer. In a few seconds, it will be liquid. And just like that, as soon as it comes out, still liquid and hot, we add it to the pitcher where we have the whole mixture ready. In it goes. We mix again, so it blends well, and it's almost ready. We just have the final surprise ingredient left, which is lemon juice, specifically 3/5 of a cup, or 125 milliliters. There it goes. In it goes. Let's turn on the machine, and you'll notice that when you turn it on, the density of the mixture changes a bit. It makes it a bit thicker and creamier, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Besides, it gives it a unique and deliciously refreshing flavor. Here, I have a 23 centimeter diameter mold. It's made of silicone, but even so, I've lined it with a bit of plastic or acetate sheet, which you know I use a lot, and you can easily buy in letter-size sheets at stationery stores. As you can see, I use the rest of the coffee to slightly dip each of the cookies and place a layer that covers the bottom. And on top of that, a second layer to cover the little holes, like this. Then, a good layer of cream to cover everything well, and we move it around a bit so it's spread evenly throughout the mold. It's that easy. On top of this, as you can guess, another layer of cookies soaked in delicious coffee. So I'm gonna bring it closer and place it. Same process as before. We just drop the cookies, covering as much surface as possible, and almost making a double layer. Cream again. As you can see, it's already a bit thick, thanks to that bit of lemon juice. We stir a little so it's well covered, and repeat the process. Let's go for cookies with a bit of coffee. Here we go! Remember, if you want the kids to try it, you need to use decaffeinated coffee. And if you want it for adults, you can use regular coffee, no problem, even a splash of liqueur. That's up to you. Finally, we cover it with the remaining cream, and what I'll do is spread it evenly. This way, making use of every last drop will spread it well so it covers the entire surface. And now, it should be more or less flat, because that will make it nicer and easier to decorate. Well, as I said, I'm going to use this rubber spatula or silicone spatula, whatever you call it, and spread the mixture toward the edges. And that's it. Now, we have it ready to put in the fridge or refrigerator for at least 4 hours, so the gelatin can do its job and the flavors can set. So here I go, putting the mold inside. Just a reminder, it's a 23 centimeter diameter mold. All right, this is done. Now that enough time has passed and I can take out this fantastic dessert, cake, tart, pie, call it whatever you want. I'll also tell you that you can make it without any problem a day in advance. In fact, that's what I did. And then decorate it with whatever you want. Caramel, for example, but I'm gonna add a bit of freshly chopped chocolate. Bitter, not too sweet, so it makes a good contrast. Plus, it gives it a crunchy touch, and look how amazing it looks when you take it out of the mold. A cake or dessert that no one will believe you made at home. Perfect, beautiful, and with an inside that, as you know, is the most important thing. Just like with people. Fantastic.
Mira, 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 qué pintaza.
You want a piece, don't you? Of course you do, but don't leave just yet. Wait to see how we combine these cookies in the next recipe to turn it into a super luxurious dessert. Look at this amazing piece, a Maria cookie cake that turns out incredible. Hi, Sweet Tooths. I'm sure you love Maria cookies. So today, I'm showing you a no-bake Maria cookie cake. Yes, I know. Yes, you can make it with any cookie you like. Any of them. Yes, no problem. Cinnamon ones too. Yes, no problem. Let me do the dessert now. Well, like I said, a no-bake cookie dessert that you're going to love. The first thing we're gonna do is heat up 60 grams, about 1/3 of a cup of butter, in the microwave or over a double boiler. Maria, the goal is to heat it enough so that it becomes liquid. What do you think here? On the other hand, what I'll do now is take some cookies. Like I said, I'm gonna use Maria cookies, but you can use whichever ones you want. The point is that they should be ones that crumble really well. I'm gonna crush them into powder in a food processor, but you can use a blender or crush them really well with a rolling pin. The only goal is to have them turned into powder like this. Transfer them to a bigger bowl and remove the blade if it falls in, like it happened to me. And now you're gonna add the butter we melted earlier by heating it. It's as simple as that. You're gonna stir it around and around, and you'll get a kind of dough or very thick crumbs. To this, we'll add milk, about 2 tablespoons, but if it needs more, add more. No problem. The idea is to make a kind of cookie dough, which you'll place in the mold you're going to use. In my case, an 18 centimeter round one. You put this mixture on the bottom and, using the bottom of a glass, press it down until it's compact and even. Then, set it aside in the fridge while we prepare the filling. For the filling, the first thing is to put half a cup of cold water in a glass and add a tablespoon of unflavored gelatin, which is about 10 grams. If you use sheets, you would need 6 or 7. Well, now in a large bowl, while the gelatin is setting, we put 300 grams of cream cheese, or spreadable cheese, which is a cup and a half, along with a little dash of vanilla essence, extract, or flavoring. Just a little dash of vanilla essence, extract, or flavoring. Also, 3 heaping tablespoons of powdered sugar, about 45 to 50 grams. We're gonna put everything in here and then add 150 milliliters or 3/4 of a cup of heavy cream. It's also called whipping cream, double cream, chantilly, heavy white cream, or I don't know how many other names in different places. The important thing is that everything is very cold and that we beat it a little until it turns into a kind of thick cream. After a few minutes, the gelatin will have set a little, so we heat it up either in a double boiler or in the microwave like I do. Just enough until it becomes completely liquid. Look, after a few seconds in the microwave, it turns completely into a liquid. Let it rest for 5 or 10 seconds, and then go ahead. Mix it with the cream. That's right, keep whisking so it spreads quickly. Spread it well so the cream is completely uniform. And now your filling cream is ready. So give it a few turns with a spatula or a small wooden spoon to get around the sides. You also need a bit of willpower not to eat this cream by the spoonful, because deep down, that's usually what you want to do first.
Oh.
Another great alternative is to add a bit of cookie crumbs to this cream. It doesn't look as nice, but it's also super tasty. What I'll do now is take the mold where we have the base of our cake or pie, place it on a flat surface to work easily, and pour the cream inside. If you look at the mold, I have acetate paper or plastic paper on the sides. It doesn't have much of a function, it's just for aesthetics, so that when you unmold it, it comes out flatter and smoother. So if you want, you can buy it at any stationery store. You cut strips and place them on your desserts. Don't worry, it's inexpensive and can be washed and reused. You spoon on the cream, like this, smooth it out, and put it in the fridge once again. The gelatin turns out perfect. They say from the 4th hour on, so you can do it from one day to the next, or have it for at least 4 hours before decorating. I'm gonna make a cream with half a packet of crushed Maria cookies, just like before. So they're powdered, and then we add half a cup of evaporated milk. Depending on the type of cookie, you could also add some sweetener if you want it sweeter, and you're going to keep mixing and mixing until you get a completely smooth cream. If it turns out too thick, you can add more liquid to make it creamier, because we're looking for it to be somewhat liquid. And while I keep talking and talking, I forgot to tell you that it was time to do that. Take this wonder out of the mold that we had in the freezer. So let's go ahead and remove all the little papers. Then we take a spatula and move this wonderful cake we have. Just like that, straight onto the plate where you want to present it or enjoy it. I place this little round one here and decorate it with that fantastic cream we had prepared. Look how it falls, how delicious. It gives a nice contrast to the cheese cream. Great, and it will combine perfectly in your mouth with the base made from the same cookies. Use the back of a spoon to spread the cream toward the edge and also let it drip down. Some drops look nice on the sides. What an amazing cake we've made in just a moment. You can also decorate it with more cookies, grated chocolate, or whatever you like. Look, a little bit of fruit also looks great. I'm adding peach, but like I said, you can put whatever you want. What comes to mind for you? Tell me in the comments below, so we can all share ideas. Also, adding a bit of height on top always makes things look more eye-catching. So I'm gonna place half a cookie here and half on the other side to make it clear that this dessert is made with Maria-type cookies. Wonderful. And now the most important thing, which is the same for both desserts and people. The inside of this dessert is truly a delight. Yes, that's right.
Look at that texture. What a texture. How delicious. I don't know if you really love this one, or if you like the carrot one, or the milk dessert from the beginning more. Let me know in the comments. 3 different ways to make bisutar with cookies. And since I'm doing a poll on Questasa Canto, which cookie do you prefer to dip in milk or coffee? Tell me in the comments. I'm sure you have one in mind.
That has already come to your mind.
And then I'm going to love hearing